Hey there and welcome back to Mass Effect. My name is Pete and today we complete another set of side missions. And as you might be able to hear, or better not hear, we have no audio for this one. I recently unplugged my headphones, plugged them back in, and apparently that was enough for DxTory to decide not to record any sound whatsoever. Unfortunately, that affected about an hour of recorded footage, and while I do care immensely about the quality of my videos, a few of the sections in there are a bit tricky and re-recording everything would take another 2 or 3 hours. So for this one you'll have to live with me and only me. I will try and do my best to cover things up. To get back to what we're actually doing, we are on Mavigon, where we are about to take out a crime lord. That is part of the UNC hostile takeover quest that we received from Helena Blake back on the Citadel. However, before we go into combat, we can find an abandoned camp here, which still has a bit of loot to salvage. And the reason we took Garrus with us is that this crate right here requires master decryption. We get some loot from that, and then there is another unlocked crate right next to it, which holds some heavy armor. And quickly off screen I equipped the Survivor 3 armor on Shepard and the Onyx 3 on Rex. Both armors are substantial upgrades to what Shepard and Rex had equipped before. Inside the Mako we can quickly set our next destination on the minimap. Once again there are a few collectibles around the map that are not marked just yet. Until we get there, let's speed things up. Alright, we have reached a cobalt deposit. That is one of the light metals we can collect. We get a few experience points on top as well. And then we can once again head into the minimap and mark our next destination. And that right here doesn't really look like a mummified Solarian to me. Nonetheless, we can recover one of the ID tags, get back inside of the Mako and make our way to the mineral deposit nearby. This time we find some gold, that is a heavy metal, and we are not done yet. This time we pursue one of the marked locations on the map, and once again, until we get there, let's fast forward. Alright, that is a crashed probe we can salvage. One more reason why bringing Garrus along was a good idea, because this one requires medium electronics. We find a few upgrades and back inside the Mako we go. Now we can finally set the Syndicate hideout as our destination and prepare for one of the tougher fights in the game. The hideout is a bit tough to reach, as it is conveniently placed on top of a steep hill with no real path up there, but we're driving a Mako, so that shouldn't be a problem. We are immediately greeted by 3 Alliance heavy turrets, and as usual with those we want to take them out on foot but damage them as much as possible inside the Mako. In the meantime we can rock the Mako back and forth to avoid the projectiles, continue to fire away, and once this first turret here is down at low health, exit the Mako, deal the killing blow, and get back inside just in time to avoid another projectile. Rinse and repeat for the other 2, and due to the lack of sound I will speed things up a bit. I think that is in all of our interests. Alright, just in time before we head inside the base we leveled up, and that means let's spend some talent points. For Shepard we will put 1 point in Charm, trust me we will need this down the line. And the other one can go in Spectre training. Rex gets 2 points in throw, because that one maxed out can be really powerful and is a very good offensive power against multiple enemies. Lastly then, for Garrus, the same logic applies that I explained the last time we leveled him up. Turian Agent would increase accuracy and damage all across the board, but since Garrus is, at least for the moment, exclusively using assault rifles, we want to focus on that. On top of that, he won't be able to use anything else unless we put points in assault rifles to unlock sniper rifles, so there's another reason why it makes sense. With all of our level ups out of the way, we now need to hurry a bit to get to the back of the base, because that is where the entrance is and we have a level 2 cold hazard around us. Once that bar on the lower right fills up, we are in trouble and we of course want to avoid that. We could of course also take the Mako, but for such a short way that's not really necessary. Alright, we are inside of the Crime Syndicate's base. After we open this first door here, there is a medkit in this room. We are stocked full however, and we may or may not use one in the upcoming fight, so we'll leave this here as backup should we need it. Off screen I quickly put an improved sighting on my sniper rifle, that might come in handy, and now let's get to it. You can see on the minimap we have quite a bit of company here, and what we want to do is pick them off one by one. Then we can retreat and wait for the enemies to approach, and we have 2 Krogan against us, who are luckily the easiest to be drawn out. Case in point, this guy right here, who seems to get comfortable inside his cover there, doesn't move and is an easy target. However, shortly after his buddy approaches us from the right, and we can welcome him with the combined power of Throw, Overload and Marksman. Thanks to chemical rounds, the Krogan does not get back up, instead his body just disappears. With the rest of the marksman, we can then focus on the other Krogan who still hasn't moved an inch, and shortly after finds his demise in a very similar fashion. With 2 of the toughest enemies in the room down, we can have a quick look at the loot they dropped. However, that armor is not an upgrade to what Garrus has equipped. So on we go, and with a little peek between the boxes here we can see there is an enemy in the back, and this might be a good time to pull out the sniper rifle. Sadly, however, he doesn't stay put, so we can push forward and tell Garrus and Rex to move to the next best cover. Then we can once again peek around the corner, but again, just as we pull out the sniper rifle, the mercenary disappears again. And it almost seems like he wants to please us, because after switching back to the pistol, here he is again. And he seems to keep moving from cover to cover, but makes the mistake of exposing himself to our pistol fire in between, so after a short while we are 3 enemies down. Still a few more to go, so let's change corners and get a better overview of the room. Most of them are in decent cover, however one mercenary feels a bit brave here. And I'm thankful for that, because we don't need to waste any of our abilities and instead can shrink his health bar bit by bit until he finally disintegrates into a green cloud. We can now switch to the sniper rifle to maybe get a better shot at the mercenary in cover in the back there, however that quickly proves to be a waste of time. So let's give him a grenade as a present, tell Garrus and Rex to move up, and then we can try to flank them from the right. On the pillar here we can replenish the medi-gel that we used against the Krogan, and then we suddenly face the crime boss. Very tough to take down, very strong, has biotic powers, so to keep him from using those we use damping and then throw for good measure. A quick follow up with overload and warp gets rid of the shields and softens him up for sabotage and marksman, and he's quickly taken care of. However, we have wasted quite a few powers here and we are now being swarmed by mercenaries, so in this case we need to use the numbers advantage, gang up on him, knock him down as needed, and just hope nobody comes and attacks us from the back. That doesn't seem to be the case after taking down that mercenary. We still have 2 enemies who don't move out of their cover, so we will come to them. We need to be careful though, because one of them is a sniper who has a potential one-shot kill ability, so we want to make him a priority. Both of them are pretty agile and move quickly from cover to cover. An assault rifle would probably be a good idea here as well, but for now the pistol is just a bit more accurate. Wonderful, that is the sniper dealt with, and now it's 3-on-1 against the last enemy, and even though Shepard's shields are down, I'm fairly optimistic about this one. The cooldown on all of our powers has reset already, so let's use Sabotage and Throw first. That catapults him on top of the generator, and we can finish things up with Overload, Warp and a few well-placed shots. And the Crime Lord's defeated message tells us that at least this part of the side quest has been successful, and we can now go and loot the place. In the back of the large area that we just fought in, there is another door. We can go through, find ourselves in a corridor, and at the end of that one we can turn left. In the back of what seems to be a group room, we can find a medical station that requires easy decryption, inside a biotic amp and an Omni tool upgrade. Then on one of the beds to the side, 2 more biotic amps. Now we can leave this room again and go across into the other one, where behind the door we can find a secure crate that requires average decryption. The Avenger 3 assault rifle is not necessarily spectacular here, but there is also a technician kit to the left which holds a few upgrades, and 2 medical kits to the right with, you guessed it right, medi-gel. Before we exit there is one more thing, and that is the malfunctioning object in the corner here. Inside 2 armor upgrades that we don't really have a use for, at least not now. And apart from the medi-gel at the very beginning of the compound, that's it. We can now quickly move back to the entrance, make a quick stop at that medkit, and then exit the building. That conveniently also marks the end of everything we can do on Mavigon, so let's go back to the Normandy. And I went back to the save game for this one with sound enabled and recorded at least the next few minutes again, because they contain a conversation. For now we can leave Mavigon and travel to the Sentry system in the Hawking Eta cluster.
Message coming in, Commander. Big surprise, the Alliance needs you again.
Shepard, this is Admiral Hackett with Alliance Command. We've got a mission for you. An Alliance officer named Major Kyle has set up a small compound in the Hawking Eta cluster. He's attracted a number of followers, mostly biotics. He's become an outspoken critic of the Alliance, and we believe he's mentally unstable. This could be trouble, Shepard.
Well, nonetheless, he has isolated himself, so what makes you think he's dangerous?
What kind of proof do you have that the Major is dangerous?
3 days ago, we sent 2 Alliance representatives to meet with him at his compound. They've disappeared. We believe Kyle and his followers killed them. That compound is a cult, Shepard. They call him Father Kyle now. He set himself up as some kind of religious leader.
A religious leader for biotics, you say?
You said his followers were biotics?
Yes. Major Kyle never showed any biotic tendencies himself, though. I think he's just latched onto a group he identifies with. Many biotics feel marginalized or ostracized by society. Kyle probably sees them as victims who need his protection, and they see him as someone who will fight for them. Unfortunately, he's convinced them that the Alliance is somehow responsible for all their problems. We can't let him go on like this.
So before we go in there, any more info about this Major Kyle?
What else can you tell me about Major Kyle?
He used to be a model soldier, but something happened to him at Torfin. Too many Alliance soldiers died under his command. Couldn't cope with the guilt. His psych evaluations showed he couldn't handle the stress of command anymore. He was given an honorable discharge in early retirement. We'd hoped he would get better in time, but we underestimated how far gone he was. Now it looks like it's too late.
And what exactly were the officers you sent before trying to achieve?
What were those Alliance representatives going to talk to Major Kyle about?
They wanted to bring him back to an Alliance facility for treatment. Major Kyle served us faithfully for many years. We weren't going to abandon him. Given his state of mind, however, he probably saw them as a threat. We're almost certain he had his followers killed them.
Alright, well, looks like it's a job for us.
I might be able to end this without violence.
You serve with him. He might listen to you. But he's already killed 2 Alliance representatives. I trust you to use your judgment. Hack it out.
So, in the sentry system, we can go through this quickly. We can find another League of One medallion on Tharopto. Then there is a metallic asteroid close by. That one contains palladium. And we can find some cobalt on Kanktra. And then we can switch over to Presrop, where survey is once again replaced with land, and that is where we can hopefully find Major Carl and his biotic followers. So let's land. With Liara and Tali we will take a biotic and a tech specialist. This will prove useful in a while, you will see that soon. Alright, back to the old recording we go. We have landed on Presrop and we once again have no sound. And before we get going, we can start by upgrading Liara and Tali. For Liara we put 2 points in barrier, that will also unlock stasis. And with Tali we have 6 points to spend, and despite the fact that we're not going to face robotics anytime soon, we're going to put those in hacking. That has the simple reason that hacking lowers the recharge time of sabotage, overload and damping, and especially sabotage and damping will be needed soon. Then we can go on our way, and just like on Mavigon, we will leave the base for last and instead go to the map and set the first marker to our next destination. And if you now think, well, there isn't anything there, now there is. This big source of experience points should obviously not be left undiscovered, and as soon as the Thresher Maw is above ground, we're going to retreat to a small hill and fire away from there. This is pretty straightforward, so let's put a bit more speed to it. As usual, we can pretty easily evade the Maw's projectiles and just wait for the right moment to step outside for the kill. And of course I shouldn't have said that, as we get hit with a nasty acid spit, and you can see immediately the Mako is badly damaged. One more and we're finished, so we need to be careful now. However, the Maw is also at pretty low health, so now we can step outside, draw the pistol, activate marksman and go for the kill. Lovely, that's a big chunk of XP there. So now let's get back inside of the Mako, set the next map marker and be on our way. Well, in comparison to what we pushed the Mako through before, this was rather easy to reach, so let's have a quick look around the camp. In the first shack here there is a locked crate which requires easy decryption, nothing Tali can't handle. We get a few nice weapons, but for now our entire squad consists of pistol users, and the Kessler is an upgrade for none of us. In the other shack there is a malfunctioning object, this one has an ammo and a grenade upgrade. That grenade upgrade deals toxic damage, so I quickly equipped that on Shepard, in exchange for the high explosive one that we had so far. I also put a slightly better version of the Solaris amp on Liara, which gives her a slightly better cooldown bonus, and I also equipped her with a first aid interface because up until now she had no health regeneration. I have also switched both Tali and Liara to radioactive rounds, which increase ability cooldown on our enemies, and you might already be able to guess where this is going. For now, we can take the Mako up to another map marker and speed things up until we get there. Alright, we have reached some ancient debris. That one was actually marked on the map before, and we are able to recover some Turian insignia. Right next to it is a wrecked mining vehicle. We can examine that as well. However, that doesn't give us anything more but the information that both the machinery and its inhabitants are no longer alive. So let's go back inside of the Mako, mark our next destination and speed things up again. Okay, after a bit of a wild ride we have reached a crashed probe. We can salvage this one and grab 2 ammo upgrades. Nothing amazing yet, so let's go back inside of the Mako, and now we can finally target the biotic compound. And there it is. The compound consists of 2 buildings, the large one that you can see on the left here, and a slightly smaller underground bunker in the back. Before we enter either one of those, we want to have a quick look at the mineral deposit further away in the back here, because here we can survey some gold. Alright, we have earned a few XP as well, and we will now take the Mako, which will bring us to the front door of the compound. However, we will not enter just yet, not because we have anything else to do, but because we will now make a cut in this episode. The action inside of the compound takes roughly 10 to 15 minutes, and that would push the limits of this episode. So, once again, my apologies for the lack of audio. I hope the replacement track in the background was not all too annoying. Big thanks to YouTube user TechnoAxe, who has made this little piece of music and allows its use completely royalty-free. Since I have the majority of the next episode already recorded, I can tell you we will probably hear from him again. Once again, I'm very sorry that happened. For now, I hope you enjoyed this episode nonetheless. Feel free to leave a like or even subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm doing. And I can say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.